Charlie's going to have the pledge, and Doug Green's going to pray.
Okay. God bless America.
You step away from this microphone.
God
Bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans bright with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Face the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as we enter into the new year in so many ways, we want to give thanks for our community. We want to give thanks for those that are present today that have served in leadership roles and worked hard and retired from them. We pray for our officials that are still doing the same. We look to them for guidance and direction as our community grows. We thank you for being Kiwanian, for the opportunity to work with young people, and we just pray you guide us as we go through this year. Thank you for today's meal, and just pray for a good time as we enjoy it together. In Christ's name we ask these things.
Amen. Thanks, guys. So, we have a number of guests today. Two of my guests, I've got Eddie Cartwright as one, and Brad Alexander, branch manager at Bowater Credit Union, is also here. Happy to see them both. Tom and Sandra Rowling, glad to see you guys. Mayor Davis, glad you're here. Ken Webb, good to see you also at church. Goodness gracious. Oh yes, Avery Johnson, glad to see you. Glad you're here. Hey, I'm sorry, Marcia. I'm sorry. I'm missing everybody because I'm just surprised. But I'm glad you're here, Marcia. So we've got Dr. Seuss coming up March the 9th. We still are looking for a little bit of sponsorship if we can. We're a little short yet. We funded it last year, and it's such a successful program for the kids. We don't want to avoid that, and we'll fund it again this year if we need to. We've got a couple of feelers out there. Hopefully that will happen. Alan Jones is here. He's got a little story to tell us. Alan, I'm glad you're here. He's a prospective member, even though we joined in the 70s at the same time.
He's a member.
He is a member. He's still a member.
I wasn't sure if I was a member or not, and I asked my bookkeeper, he said I just paid the dues, so I am a member.
That's true.
I'll tell you something that you probably don't realize. I stole that bell one time for over 2 weeks. That thing had been in, I think it's been here since 1926. And I decided to, I had to give a talk. I had the program in 2 weeks. I didn't have anything to talk about, so I decided to take that bell on vacation with me, and I went down, put it on my plane, strapped it in, and I had a series of pictures, including I fed it a 5-pound lobster, and introduced it to all kinds of people in South Florida. And then the last slide got me in trouble. I found a lady on the beach in a thong that was pregnant, and I got her clothes holding the bell. And that was the only time I got censored at the Kiwanis Club.
Yeah, there was another part of that story you didn't want to tell.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you that I'm pleased to have Mayor Brooks here. Out of his respect, I'm actually in long pants. So, I mean, I really appreciate that. Let's give our guests a round of applause, please. Bruce?
Joel had just taken office, and after the State of the Union, he told his good friend Alan Jones, you know, the citizens of the city deserve an update from their mayor. I want to be responsible, and I want to let them know our vision. So Alan, as you know, was a member at that time and set it up, and ever since then, the city and county mayors of Bradley and Cleveland have been kind enough to come and speak to us. So today, for the annual State of the City address, I want to introduce Kim's husband, Zach and Elizabeth Stanton, and also the grandfather of two beautiful grandchildren. He was a state representative, served the Lord with Church of God Ministries, and does, what else does he do? Oh, and the mayor of Cleveland. Please welcome Kim.
Thanks very much, Bruce and Chuck. Most of all, thank you for introducing Kim and Zach. That is the title that I am most proud of, being Kim's husband and Zach and Elizabeth's dad, and now Henley and Harper's granddad. I have joined the grandparent ranks, and it is the greatest job description of all, and I'm so grateful. Thank you, Alan, for that historical tidbit, and Bruce for really setting up the reason that I'm here today. Is because of Mayor Emeritus Rowland beginning this tradition not too many years ago. So Mayor Rowland, Sandra, it's an honor to have you here. My colleague at the county, who I understand gave a very short speech this morning, Eddie Cartwright. So this actually today counts as part of the idol. Thank you and Dustin for getting all this presentation together. But there's a lot of statistics in this, a lot of bullet points, and we will be putting this on the clevelandtn.gov website as a PDF, so you guys can download this at your leisure and take a look at it when you would like to. But everything is going up. Everything is improving in the city of Cleveland. Our wages are improving. Our unemployment rate continues to go down. It makes us the 6th best metro community of our size. Cleveland, Tennessee continues to move forward. That's Gary Davis's speech.
Oh, okay, that's next week, is that right?
In 2020 and 2021, the Planning Commission approved roughly 1,000 new home lots to be approved and built on. In 2022, that doubled to 2,000. Same with permits. You can see from 2017 to 2021, we were residential in the 200s. We doubled that in 2022 to 439. Same with additions and alterations. And then total permits sold in the 400s, doubling to almost 800 this past year. So as you can see, commercial, residential, improvements, alterations, all across the board, things are moving at a very, very rapid pace. But none of this growth and progress in 2023 would have been possible if the city council had not done the due diligence and the difficult work of getting our financial house in order. When Ken Webb and I were on the campaign trail, it seems like forever ago, in 2018, we talked a lot about the $100 million debt that we were holding, and we talked a lot about the interest rates that we were having to pay back on that debt. I'm very, very grateful to say that the city council has voted to continue to pay down our debt. About $30 million of that has been paid, and we have rapidly converted what was variable rates. About 45% of our debt was variable. Now 95% of our debt is at a fixed rate. And for any of you all that have followed anything recently, thank goodness, because the markets have crashed and rebounded and upbounded and everything in between. The money bank, I heard Goldwater was here as a guest today. Our interest rates, if we had not had these rates fixed, none of this growth, none of the things that we're now able to reinvest your money. That's an important lesson that those of us in elected office have to remember. It is not our money that we are investing and reinvesting. It's all of your money. You are the taxpayers that send that to City Hall, and so we have to be good stewards of that. This 2023 budget, I'm very, very grateful that was presented to the council, does not include a tax increase. So everything that we're about to talk about, roads and bridges and sidewalks and schools, all of Marcia's clapping, all of this, it's very important to us that all of this is now going to be able to be done with absolutely no increase into your taxes whatsoever. And I know Mayor Davis feels the same way about that. Our CFD, Cleveland Fire Department, continues to be amazingly above the curve in all aspects of everything that they do, from fire prevention to fire training. All of the percentages, everything is increasing. The training has increased 37%. The conducting of fire inspections increased almost 13%. Now you would imagine with a 15% growth rate, all these new houses, all these new businesses, exponentially you can imagine we have to inspect all those buildings if they're within the city limits. I'm assuming Mayor Davis does the very same thing out in the county. Our response times continue to be incredibly improving. 90% of the time, 3.39 response time on calls, and structure fire calls, 3.41 is the average response time 90% of the time. Our CPD, the Cleveland Police Department, top 1% of all police departments in the nation that are approved by CALEA. It's a very hard accreditation to get. It takes multiple years to achieve it, and we continue to achieve that each and every year. I'm so proud of our Cleveland Police Department and what they have achieved, keeping our citizens safe. The training continues to increase, our events continue to increase, and the response time, thankfully, continues to decrease. So I'm very grateful that the council included additional firefighters, new fire trucks, new police cars, and new police officers. All of that together combines to decrease the amount of time it takes to get to your house. And when it's your family making that 911 call, that's exactly what you want, a decreased response time. Industrial growth, Mayor Davis and I serve together on the Industrial Development Board, and it continues to increase. It's just been a great year. There are some announcements, Mayor Davis and I. It's incredible to know what's coming, I'll just say that. And I wish that we had the ability to talk about it a little bit more. Some of the things that have been announced, an additional $200 million and 225 jobs to the north of us at Vakar-Kimi. That is actually a county industry. We're very thankful that so much of their investment, their staff, their families live and work in the city limits and then drive to Charleston. And we're very grateful for the Vakar-Kimi. This now is their third increase. This is investment number 3, and Mayor Davis and I are told that there's more to come. Ironcraft joining us now in Cleveland, 400,000 square foot investment, hundreds of jobs, hundreds of millions of dollars in investment. And I'm incredibly grateful that our friends at Ironcraft have continued to increase. They have a plant in Athens, they have a plant in North Carolina, and this is their multiple site location here in Bradley County, and they also tell us it's going to continue to increase. This is a brand new 100,000 square foot building that is under construction right now at Spring Branch. It's a fantastic building. There's a partnership out of Knoxville that is building it. And there's already multiple companies vying to own that building. There's some conversations right now whether or not the company out of Knoxville wants to lease it and maintain ownership or sell it outright. What matters is there are multiple companies and industries looking at it saying, we want to make Cleveland and Bradley County our home. I'm told, Mayor Davis, that we're hopefully in the next week or two going to announce a neighbor to this complex that's, again, going to be just a fantastic addition to our community. Mayor Davis, you did make my slideshow. I understand I was not in yours this morning. Point that out. But we continue to have great growth. Cheddar's was a very welcome restaurant. Champy's was an incredibly great announcement. Now, Champy's, Seth Champion, married a Clevelander, married a Bradley County young lady, actually started Champy's franchise here in Cleveland, tells the story about not being able to get a loan anywhere else but in Cleveland, Tennessee, but he couldn't find a place to build it, so he built it down in Chattanooga. This is his 11th store, all of them fabulously successful and well received, and he is saying, because this is his hometown store, that this is going to be the showcase of all of them, and we're really excited. This is the new Courtyard Marriott next to the Hampton Inn. There is even yet another new hotel across the street in the pipeline. Corey, is it True by Hilton? Is that the one that applied for it? Maybe so. Corey, different one. So now there's even two. Growth right before your eyes. Right here at Kiwanis. Commitments fulfilled. Again, I'm so grateful that my colleagues on the city council and our city manager, Joe Fivas, had the vision to begin this incredibly important infrastructure rebuilding program. I'm also very grateful that we received ARP funds, that we don't have to dip into the tax dollars to pay for this. Mayor Davis did get double what we got, but we're happy with the 10 million that we got. And we used them for projects like this. This is the Parker Street extension, the Pi Center, the gateway to Lee University, right off of APD 40. You can see how beautiful it turned out. That turn lane, anybody who's got kids or grandkids going to Ocoee Middle School, you know how congested that area used to be. And it's wonderful to have it now in this beautiful 4 lanes. Dalton Pike sidewalks all the way down. Dalton Pike, 17th Street sidewalks, this beautiful stacked stone wall next to Deer Park. 20th Street, which again, that's the Mayfield intersection, the new Mayfield, for those of you all that have been here as long as I have. And you can see, it's just an incredibly new, open, and wonderful, expansive area that used to be a real traffic congestion problem. And so I'm very grateful that most of our projects like this are being funded and paid for with no increase to your tax dollars. This was a grant, Blythe to Blythe Sidewalks, $400,000 in a grant, actually began as a Healthy Start grant, getting kids to walk to school. And we're very grateful because in this community, the Blythe community, which by the way, was the very first neighborhood in Cleveland, Tennessee. This is where the folks who ran and worked at Hardwick Woolen Mills and the Hardwick Stove downtown, this is where they lived and worked and would walk to work. And so this is Cleveland's first neighborhood. And to have a reinvestment of this kind in this area is just such an important part. And we already have been told it's been a game changer for that whole area. I'm proud to have the mayor, Vice Mayor Avery Johnson Park, one of the most beautiful new parks that we have in our system, there in the same area, the Candies Creek Greenway. This is the new addition. There's a beautiful green bridge, historically the oldest still operating bridge in Bradley County. It's on what used to be the Rolling Hills Golf Course property for you golfers. It's now owned by the Westmore Church, and the Greenway connects right to it. There are plans for future expansion. I'm going to look back at Corey so you can nod or do this, or future expansion, he's giving me a thumbs up, which would connect this under the interstate to Fletcher. And you would be able to go from Fletcher Park through the old Rolling Hills Golf Course, under Candies, to Cleveland Middle School and the new Candies Creek Elementary School. So think about all those, what I call the Jim Sharp neighborhoods, all those neighborhoods along that route that will now have direct connectivity to a greenway, allowing you to walk or ride all the way from Fletcher all the way to Candies Creek Elementary School and that beautiful walking trail behind Cleveland Middle. It's just going to be a fantastic other side of the interstate that's never had greenway access. And again, I think it's just great forward thinking by the city staff and the city council, and I can't wait for it to all be open. Mosby Park, one of the great historic parks of downtown, entirely redone and retrofitted. The Greenway Park, of course, the clubhouses and all the new improvements there. And then we get to downtown, the Sanda Mill, Hosiery Mill, which is literally right outside our door, and the new loft apartments that have been created there. If you've not gone through it, it truly is spectacular what they've done to this downtown urban living. When you combine the Sanda Hosiery Mill, $10 million investment, and the $2 million that's coming up, the Moore Building, this is the inside of the Sanda Lofts, and the Moore Building, which is here on this corner, $2 million by HH&M accounting firm, and then you add what Nick Lilios has already built at the Agora, that is $16 million in new investment just in the 5 Points, I still call it 5 Points, just in the 5 Points area. So again, it's just fantastic. And Caesar, it's going to be great for your business here at the Elks Lodge. All of this is coming downtown. Looking ahead, LIC North. Now this is named in honor of Mayor Tom Rowland. This is the Tom Rowland Interchange. And this is a long overdue. LIC stands for Local Interstate Connector. And so it allows Mayor Davis and I to partner with the state and TDOT and have a much smaller investment of your tax dollars from the city and from the county, pool it together with the state money, about 80% of it's paid for by the state, to make this road connect into what is Grove Church Road, Pleasant Grove, in that area. Think about all of the residential components that can now be available to be built upon. There's already an apartment complex, townhomes that have been approved on what used to be the Cleveland Speedway, the Cleveland Speed Track area. So we think that this LIC North is going to be a great addition to that area. Mouse Creek and Paul Huff, for those of you that live in the Mouse Creek area, this is about to be a 6-lane wide intersection. 2 lanes turning left, 2 turning right, and then 2 straight going towards what is the 2 schools right now. And so we believe this is going to be a fantastic way to open up these arteries and get the transportation flowing. We hear you. Traffic on Paul Huff is impossible. I agree. I live there myself. I know exactly what you're talking about. And so I think you'll see some great improvements coming. In fact, there's going to be 9, I think we've added a 10th, as I recall. Somebody said there's a 10th one. But these are the 9 identified intersections from Atkinson all the way to the interstate, all the way down past Mouse Creek. All 9 intersections are going to be very upfitted and improved. And again, all of this is being done with no increase to your tax dollars. Now, is it going to be convenient? Absolutely not. Unfortunately, we learned with the gas line, how many people remember them putting the gas line right down the middle of Paul Huff? Yeah, there's just no way to do that conveniently. We did sign a contract with them to only do that work at night, but even that, as you saw, was problematic some evenings. Their version of what is night and my version of what's night was incredibly different. I don't go to bed at 4:30, but they started working at 4:30. There are definitely some things that we're just going to have to all be patient. But you also might remember exit 20. Remember when that was a 2-lane bridge? Remember when it was 1 lane? There was a 4th of July where the fireworks company threatened to sue because we had closed down their business, their ability to make money. And so that was a 2-lane bridge that was shut down to 1 lane for 1 summer. Now it's 6 lanes across, and it's absolutely fantastic. And very few people even have a memory of what it was like when it was 2 lanes. Just think about that when you think about Paul Huff. It's going to be much better as fast as we can. In addition to increasing our pickleball courts at Tinsley, we have voted, I'm thankful the council has voted to begin process of the new Cleveland disc golf. Now, Chuck, I know you're a tennis player, and there's pickleball. Raise your hand if you're a pickleball player. Okay, and that population is growing incredibly fast. And so we're building those and improving those as fast as we can. What I did not know was there's also a huge disc golf population in Cleveland. In fact, there are about 84 dues-paying members of the Golf Association. Steve Hartline is not one of them. What? And you're rolling your eyes at me. Like I can't see it. I can see you.
That's just general principle.
Oh, okay. There are 23 championship level disc golf players that live in Cleveland, Tennessee. And so they're all excited. This is going to be at the Fletcher Park area that we talked about a few moments ago. It's a passive park. It's a great place to play frisbees. And so I think it's going to be a great addition. We can't go much further without talking about downtown, and literally right across the street from where we are right now, Inman Street, just 2 streets over, is going to be great. Now there's a lot of, I'm looking around at WCLE or somebody puts this on their page, there will be a lot of comments about the fear that people have of reducing the traffic on Inman Street. Studies have shown that improving it like this, just like the Kingston Pike in Knoxville, actually increases foot traffic and the ability for retail and restaurants to come and flourish downtown. That's exactly what we want. And you can see, we have only reduced it by 1 lane. There's still a turn lane where they need to be, and there's only 3 lanes across instead of 4 right now. So it's not taking it down to 1 lane, as I've read on Facebook. You can't believe everything you see on Facebook. And there is a plan, so I'll get to that in just a second. Continuing our discussions with Whirlpool Property, Whirlpool property has been sold to a holding company called Phoenix, and it's been very interesting. I've learned a lot about the art of the deal and negotiating with an out-of-state company that really, is in the business of making money. And that's why they bought the property. Their plan is to make money on it. We have given them an offer. They have responded with a response to be continued. Those negotiations continue. And that's why it's important for us to, I say, drop an anchor downtown. Cleveland City Hall has been downtown in the municipal building. It's the former electric building for decades and decades. But we have woefully outgrown our space. For any of you guys who have to pay your taxes, you go to my building, and you go to Gary's building. And if you gotta get a permit, you go to a third building. If you gotta pay a ticket, you go to a fourth building. There's just so many little buildings and little places you've gotta go. Centralizing all of this into one location is a fantastic idea. And there's nothing better than restoring what we believe is the crown jewel of downtown. I'm very grateful that my predecessor, Mayor Rowland, and the former council voted to purchase the Summit when they did, because they pulled it out of the rotation of HUD housing, low-income housing. And quite frankly, 13 developers have picked up plans, we call it RFPs, to see what they could do with this building. My recollection, Corey, is only 2 have returned something, and both of those had something to do with either low-income housing or some kind of sub-housing. It was not luxurious downtown loft living. It was not the boutique hotel that we had hoped for. And because the city already owns it, it's actually wise for us to be the ones that redevelop it. It's not something we've got to go out and buy. We already have ownership, and that money has already been allocated and spent, so we're starting afresh and anew, and thankfully with the ARP funds that we have, we will be able to do all of this with no increase to your tax dollars, and really make this into the showplace that it used to be. Mr. Cartwright, was it your wedding reception that was in this building?
Yes.
We're gonna have your next anniversary or birthday party when it's done. And we're gonna host you an amazing party when we get this done, because that's the plan. We're gonna restore the lobby to its former grandeur. We're gonna replace those beautiful staircases, that upper area where you could have receptions and meals and parties. So Caesar, get ready for yet another place to cater. We're always planning ahead, and I'm incredibly grateful. A number of our county commission friends and the mayor's office from the county joined us in a recent Michigan Avenue study. It's incredibly important that we fix this corridor. It's an old log or wagon road is how TDOT classifies it. And if you've driven down it lately, you understand why they classify it that way. It also happens to be one of the largest and fastest growing industrial areas. Whirlpool at one end, the new Jetport at the other, as well as a huge amount of residential new growth. So we've got to get that Michigan Avenue corridor fixed, and I'm grateful to partner with the county on that planning. This is the plan that I was talking about. What are we going to do with the traffic on Inman Street? The lower double line is the Inman Street improvement. This upper line is the new improvement, or the new raised grant area. We actually received a grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation to study this. They like what they see. It would reroute all the traffic, or the truck traffic at least, those guys that keep hitting the bridge. Have you heard about that? Anyway, it's another project for another day. But it would reroute all the Inman Street traffic to 3rd Street and would construct a very large flyover bridge. It would basically land right in the middle of where the Whirlpool property that we're negotiating for. So that's got great potential, and we really are excited about this plan, and so is the federal government. Promises made, promises kept. We fixed our finances. We lowered our debt by saving over $10 million by refinancing. CPD, highest accreditation ever achieved. CFD, increasing our calls, increasing our training, increasing our inspections while decreasing our time. Downtown redevelopment, that says 12 million, but if you count the Agora that's already there, it's 16 million downtown. Transportation, record number of city and state projects continue to go, and continue planning, including the Michigan Avenue, downtown, uptown. I think the biggest thing that I had to learn when I became mayor is there's more to this town than just downtown. It's the entire city of Cleveland. So it's Michigan Avenue to one side, Georgetown Road and Paul Huff to the north, Inman Street here downtown, and don't forget South Lee Highway going down to the south side, all the way to APD 40. That's our city. I'm incredibly proud to be your mayor. I'm incredibly thankful that you let Kim and Zach and Elizabeth and I serve you as our family. All of us are in this business. Kim and I had the discussion last night. This is a family business, and we're all in it together. We serve you as a family, and it is the greatest honor that you've ever given us. And I know I've taken a long time, but I'm happy to answer any questions, except for Gary Davis. He's not allowed to ask any questions.
Mayor, if you'll do the Inman Street plan as presented, I will give you 100% of all the trees you showed in that picture. It has to be like the picture.
Has to be like the picture.
Yes, sir.
Challenge
I'll give you
accepted.
every one of those trees for free.
Challenge accepted. Corey, make sure it looks like the picture. That's a lot of trees.
They change a lot.
All right. I'm incredibly grateful that my colleague Gary Davis is here. We actually get along really, really well. The newspapers and my friends at WCLE like to say otherwise, but we actually get along really well. Eddie Cartwright is here, the former county mayor, and of course Tom Rowland. It's an honor to have these four men. I'm not sure I've ever given a presentation where they were all present, and so I don't get the chance to thank them all for their leadership and their example. And my brother across the way at the county courthouse, Adam Lewis, is here. And Adam, thanks for what you do for the county. And again, Avery and Ken and Marcia, what a joy just to serve with you. Yes, sir.
You got any update on Georgetown 60 improvement?
It's under construction. So actually, the great news is, and I'm looking around, Corey, the TDOT tells us, and Gary, I think you heard the same thing, they're under budget and ahead of schedule, which is incredibly rare. Because we get this report at what we call the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization. And their report is they're going to finish under budget and ahead of schedule. They were scheduled to go through 2026, as I recall.
Al Taylor said 25.
So see, they're ahead already. 2026 is now 2025. And I get it. My granddaughter goes to Candies Creek. That is not fun. But just like Exit 20, it's going to be great. Thanks for your patience on that. Any other questions? Good questions. Steve, was it you just scratching your ear?
I had an itch.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. You've answered everything.
Wow. Okay.
Mayor
Chuck,
Brooks, in Knoxville on Cumberland Avenue,
Shut up, Charlie.
Mike and I went to the football game, Allen's up there. What they did in Cumberland Avenue in Knoxville, went from 4 lanes to 3 lanes, and the sidewalks for people, I mean, it was dangerous.
and thank you.
Cumberland Avenue is where it was.
I was going to say, I said Kingston, but you're right, it was Cumberland. Thank you. You're exactly right. I can't wait.
It's great.
It's difficult as an elected official to say, trust me. I know that's very difficult. But if you'll just trust us, it's going to be great downtown. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Brooks. I appreciate all of the insight, the state of the city. I'm glad we got that because obviously we're the first civic club to get it. So Rotary, you don't have to present that. Doug, you want to get a drawing? We've got a drawing to have. Everybody's got a ticket. We've got a gift card to Panera that's involved. We're going to change up a little bit next week.
I'm gonna get scissors, probably.
Mayor Davis, you are here next week. We'll be happy to hear your state of the county.
He has to come. If I'm not buying his lunch, he didn't buy mine.
Number 435.
I hope it's not me.
One of the attendance prizes.
I can't read it.
Okay.
Oh, good, we got somebody. All right, way to go, Kay. Kay Smith, our longest member, I'm sure. Thank you for all of our guests. I'm sorry for the ones I've missed. I apologize, didn't do it on purpose. Adam, thanks for coming. Zach and Kim, I'm glad you guys are here. I forgot Steve on purpose because you were late. I appreciate everybody coming, and we'll have to see everybody next week as well. You are adjourned.